How can Peter Obi win any election? Peter Obi is polling 1% in Sokoto. He can't go anywhere. Peter Obi is a Nollywood actor, and that's all he will be.
This array is caused by government.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter who calls.
No, that's what I'm telling you. Yes.
Are you going to
I'm
stick
in
with
Labour Party. I'm in Labour Party.
Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. Well, since his defection from the ruling All Progressives Congress to the Social Democratic Party, the former Kaduna State Governor, Nasiru El-Rufai, has been working tirelessly to...
But it will galvanize that support to make sure that, he gets his pound of flesh from this government.
So is it true that there is a storm brewing? There is a coming together of some heavyweight politicians?
It has its own advantages, this radical position. It shows a change from what we have been doing. We've been suffering gradually and smiling, but this time around it came out fully to show that we must get it right, because we cannot continue.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Plan B TV News Gist and Blog. This man is a prophet. When I mean is a prophet, is absolutely accurate prophet. Do you know that in 2004, last year, this guy made this video. He foresaw the plans of El-Rufai, the former Kaduna State Governor, how he's going to override Atiku and become a political godfather that will govern Atiku, Peter Obi, and many more. I didn't believe him. I just saw him as a person, as being this gallant guy, just talk. Until he played out. For those of you that said in my previous video, oh, you're lying. How dare you? You're lying. Peter Obi will never collide and join Atiku to become a subject under Atiku or be Atiku running mate. Boom. I want you guys to watch this video. But before then, I want you guys to watch this particular video of this guy, what he said in the future that is making this particular news that I heard about Peter Obi, Atiku, El-Rufai, how we work together. I want you guys to watch it.
If Atiku is not careful, El-Rufai will emerge as a political godfather for the North in 2027. Because he's not going to talk for himself, but he will galvanize that support to make sure that, he gets his pound of flesh from this government.
So is it true that there is a storm brewing? There is a coming together of some heavyweight politicians trying to form an alliance and form a very strong opposition?
There are different concentrics of mobilization against this government. The poor people themselves are one, mobilizing. The youth who are now thinking of, generational shift, not even geopolitical shift, power shift. They are also mobilizing. The politicians who, with their own interests, they're not even different. Most of Nigerian political elites are not different from these people. Because if you see what happened during Konkoso's daughter's wedding in Kano, you will know that they are the same people. Because all of them congregated there. There was nothing like Christian, Muslim. Even there were Islamic clerics dining and wining together. That's the political elite. So they are now trying to come up with something again, like what happened in 2015, to now eliminate this government, and we may even run the risks. So I am of the candid opinion that the young people in this country should learn from what has happened in Senegal, what has happened in Ghana, and other countries, and let them talk to themselves.
Do you think Tinubu might be in trouble politically in 2027?
He's already in trouble.
Really?
Yeah, Tinubu is already in trouble.
How do you mean?
Tinubu's trouble is on now because if you conduct a political survey genuinely, you will discover that Tinubu's rating will be embarrassing.
Now you have watched the guy video. For you, what will you say? Hey, it's not possible. Atiku is the Baba of PDP. Atiku is Baba. Atiku can never be under El-Rufai. El-Rufai, who was working for APC, can never rule Atiku, who is the head of PDP, until this news surface. Do you know that El-Rufai is working with Peter Obi, Atiku, Kwakwaso, and all other minor or major political parties to merge and form one party in order to unseat Jagaban, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria? I want you guys to watch the video.
Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. Well, since his defection from the ruling All Progressives Congress to the Social Democratic Party, the former Kaduna State Governor, El-Rufai, has been working tirelessly to build a strong opposition to challenge President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in the 2027 election in a bid to strengthen the party. El-Rufai is reaching out to prominent opposition figures, including former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, the 2023 Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi, and former Osun State Governor Rauf Aregbesola, and urging them to join the SDP. This is even as he has denied ever betraying former Vice President Atiku Abubakar. In Kaduna, there are growing concerns about a potential exodus of key politicians from APC into the SDP. El-Rufai has also been vocal in his criticism of both President Tinubu and his successor, Governor Uba Sani. The former governor accused Sani of using the police to allegedly abduct Jafar Sani, a former commissioner in his administration. El-Rufai has also publicly acknowledged his regret for supporting President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, despite being aware of Tinubu's past issues with his academic credentials. All right, El-Rufai is back in the news as always. I mean, now with this defection to the SDP, I don't know if you recall when, he actually said he will never leave the APC. But he was quite instrumental in the formation of the APC. And many have said that, maybe this whole alliance, if he has Peter Obi and, Rauf Aregbesola in his camp, maybe he might form a strong coalition, to challenge the APC in the 2027 election. But the most trending topic really is about the fact that he talked about knowing about Tinubu's Chicago documents or his academic credentials. But, they overlooked it because they were more concerned about what he can do, in Nigeria. Maybe he can, provide a blueprint as the way, like the way he did with the Lagos state model. And that's why they voted him in power. There's also the argument about whether or not he betrayed Atiku Abubakar. He has clearly said that he chose Tinubu because he thought he would perform better. But a lot of people have, questioned, why he is why he's criticizing the Tinubu administration in this manner, especially given the fact that he's saying that he knows all of his weaknesses and all of his flaws, but yet voted him into power or supported him during the 2023 elections. You're smiling. Steve, why are you smiling? What's it?
I think we should go because my perspective is actually going to come more from the side of the people. Now, Oji, you spoke extensively about alliances and the coalition, but the truth is, if anything, I think that's exactly what SDP should not be centered around. Because the thing is, when it comes to elections in Nigeria, there's a lot of, voter apathy, political disillusionism. So with the people, they're more focused now on who is that party that is not going to, because PDP, APC is just a crossbreed of the same set of people who tend to jump ship if need be. But if you're going to now tell us that you want to form an extension of that by bringing in the same set of people that at some point in time have made up this same party, then what's the difference? You might as well just stay in the same place. Apart from that, we definitely need to break that two-party dominance. So I'm looking at it not even from the alliances that are going to, because that is a norm. But my question is, why do we need a third alliance? You might as well just stay within the two. This is just going to be the exact same space that we're going into, taking from the old. Don't be surprised if this works out. More people are going to jump ship, and then we now have three political parties that we then have to deal with when it comes to alliances and coalitions, because it would just be another cross-pollination of the same set of people.
Well, but actually, we have many political parties.
Yes, we do. I'm talking about the dominance.
For the 2023 elections, it was a three-horse race with one other NMPP, coming forth. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. People should have, options and choices on which party to belong to and who to vote for.
So you think that all the parties have equal stance as it pertains to relevance and dominance within the political space in Nigeria?
No, they won't. They don't need to. But what is interesting really is that Nasir El-Rufai is not saying anything new. We know him. I mean, he's been around, for a bit, for quite a while since, maybe not from 1999 per se, but of course, I believe around 2022, 2023, Minister, DG, BP, everything. It has become something of a character to him that if he's not in position of relevance, he throws tantrums, and
that's another angle.
And this is typical of the former governor of Kaduna State. And of course, you will sympathize with him because you will show understanding. His successor in Kaduna State, they are not on the same boat. They are daggers drawn, if you like. He missed being a minister in spite of the contributions that you referred to, getting the president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, into office. But of course, we know that there are undercurrents. It's not just fighting, the governor that he contributed in installing. It's fighting the Malameri, what was his name? Nuri Badu, by the way, who's also an important person from the north when it comes to political equations beyond 2027. So why did he have to, at this point, leave APC? Because it's practically useless there. No power,
Do you know
no
how
influence.
cruel that sounds?
Sorry?
That a politician would leave a political party,
Yes.
not because he doesn't think that they're doing well, not because he doesn't think that the Nigerian people are benefiting from their policies, but because he does not feel relevant.
Yeah, but his rhetoric will be that the party has failed to deliver, according to promise. And if you follow what he's saying, he's basically saying that, oh yes, I contributed in making, Ashwaju and getting APC to win, but then this was not what we bargained for. That's the rhetoric that you will hear. But deep down, it's because it's useless. He was not made a minister. There was the expectation that he would be made the minister of power. As a matter of fact, recall that he was with the president at the Chatham House, thing, and one of the questions around power was thrown at him when Ashwaju said, let's democratize, let people ask. What is the likelihood of a coalition having impact towards the 2027 elections? You can't write politicians off, and because we are no God, we do not know what will happen. But what we know is that politicians will try as much as possible to come together. It is unlikely, just like when we had a discussion with Chief Eta yesterday, it is unlikely that you have the kind of mega party assemblage that we had in 2013 leading up to the 2015 elections. And what basically happened there was that there were existing parties, regional parties, different parties who came together to fight the PDP. And not only that, there were even important people in the PDP, including 5 sitting governors and 2 other governors in the PDP who were lenient to the cause of the APC, fighting from inside. 5 joined the APC, including Rotimi Amici, including El-Rufai himself, a number of people. So you really can't compare what Malam Nasir El-Rufai is trying to do at this point with what General Buhari, Muhammadu Buhari, and Ashwaji Bola Ahmed Tinubu did in leading a mega party that dethroned, a party in power. But at this time, maybe there are options. Options will be to say, why don't we may not need a mega party, why don't we get all the other parties to coalesce into a kind of a structure that can fight APC? And he'll be talking, which is the point of why he's talking, to Atiku, who is favorably disposed to the idea of a coalition. But we don't know how that will affect PDP, given the fact that we know what some Wike is doing to the PDP to decimate it. So if you are talking to, say, a PDP, a Labour Party, an NMPP, and then you now come inside the APC, where there are a few people that may not be too happy. Either they are not too happy with what the president is doing, or they have been left on the side. And you'll be talking in terms of people like Rotimi Amici himself. You'll be talking in terms of people like former governor of Ekiti, El-Rufai, Dr. Fayemi. You'll be talking in terms of Aregbesola. The point, therefore, will be, will these people, particularly Aregbesola and Fayemi, and a few others that, we may not be able to mention for now, want to dump APC, to join a coalition that will most likely produce another northern, president? I doubt if that will happen. And in any case, El-Rufai doesn't have that sort of...
You doubt what would happen? Whether the coalition will be able to be formed in the way that
I doubt if the coalition, whether it goes on or not, will be able to attract those that we know that used to be a core ally of Ashwaju. Even if they're disgruntled now, even if they are, outside of the fence of what is happening within the APC and in government now, I doubt if they will pitch their tent with a coalition that Nasir El-Rufai will be leading.
That's actually quite accurate. And who was that gentleman, the SDP gentleman that was on the morning show? Adebayo. He was the presidential candidate. Obviously, he's still in the party. There's also the internal wranglings of the SDP as well. There are, issues with the National Publicity Secretary or something like that, or even with the chairman. And I don't know why it is the SDP that El-Rufai decided to, choose or reform, exactly the word. But, last week we also saw Peter Obi meeting with, the chairman of the PDP Governors Forum, Bala Mohammed, and there were talks about some sort of coalition as well. The PDP is significantly weakened. There is no doubt about that, because obviously the FCT minister, who has been, making a lot of noise, especially with the issues of rivers and how, and how he has basically decamped to the APC. So, I mean, I think that he basically, that's why basically decamped to the APC.
Leg in and the other leg in PDP.
well, I don't see anybody who would see Wike as a PDP member at this moment. But also, you know, I think that the most important thing, if they really are serious, is to actually form that coalition in the interests of Nigeria. If they believe that the president is not doing what they wish that he's doing, what they think that he should be doing differently, they should form that coalition in the interests of Nigeria and not selfish interests to, get the APC out of power. The APC have been there for what? How many terms now? This is the third one at this point. Two of Buhari and then one of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
Now, I think, in a nutshell, APC has become a principality within the
government.
That's what I'm saying, so? Because in terms of everything that has been said right now, with SDP, primarily it is to say we need to build a stronger party.
SDP is not saying so.
No,
it's El-Rufai.
Okay. No, I'm saying with El-Rufai in SDP, the main goal is to build a stronger foundation to say there's a lot of people who have been left out. I was quite surprised to see that call for Peter Obi to join, because so does that mean that everybody who supported Labour Party is going to now move over? That is if he decides to become a member of SDP. But I also think that would that would betray the ideology and the concept of why he even ran in the first place. It was never about fighting for who's going to be in power or who has more control or who feels disenfranchised within this government. It was always about the people. Yeah. So if this is the foundation...
It was about him trying to become president.
But it was also about the people.
Yeah, it was about the people for everybody.
No, wait, but I'm speaking in terms of...
He wanted to be president and he needed a platform and he joined Labour Party.
That is your thoughts. I'm speaking in terms of what he has said.
Maybe you might not... said the same thing about people. Atiku said the same thing.
So that is what he said. So if that's how you feel, that's
I don't know any political party.
Hold on, can I just land? Do you mind if I just land on my point? What he said, whether or not we believe it or we do not, or if we believe that, to be honest, politics is the game anyway. But what he has said is, this is not why we are here, because the truth is the power tussle has been the bedrock of the many issues that we have faced in Nigeria. And we will see some of those issues and some of the stories that we address today. So my point is, if the foundation is built off people who feel like we deserve to have more of a position and more influence in this administration and in the affairs of the government, that is the wrong foundation to start with, and it's doomed to just be like every other party we've seen in the last couple of years.
And my point, basically, is that there's no single party or anybody who wanted to be president in Nigeria who has said that it wasn't about the people.
All right, coalition or not, I think the main point is that whatever they are forming, they should know that the APC or the Tinubu administration or President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is not just going to fold down and wait for this new SDP vehicle, special purpose
vehicle. We don't even know who's going to be in it.
I mean, like Steve has said, I don't think El-Rufai has the political... the cloud to pull any big wig into the SDP that is already almost dysfunctional at this moment. Almost, I didn't say dysfunctional, but we'll see. As the story unfolds, we'll continue to follow up on it.
That should be an interesting one, though.
But what we didn't really touch on, and I'd like your thoughts on the fact that El-Rufai talked about, he knew about Tinubu's Chicago credential, but he didn't say anything about it. What's your thought on that?
It's a silly thing to say.
Yes.
What is the issue with Chicago? The opposition party went to the United States to unravel a few things, and everything that they got then passed through the legal threshold, and therefore you couldn't hold him, to anything legally. So if he claimed that he knew anything, was he instrumental to how the party passed him? He was just a governor who was leaving, Kaduna State. And Ashwaju, like all the other people who participated in the primary, went through the primaries of the thing, they looked at all their books, and the party felt that, okay, you can go on. So if he has fresh information that he thinks can work against...
Well, he's not saying him. He's saying we as a party...
Knew what?
That, he had issues with his Chicago documents, like almost casting aspersion that the documents were either, the claim that his documents were not properly handled or properly given out to him was true. Which is what Chicago had already debunked that, by the way.
Whatever he knew were just, at the level of allegations.
At level of allegations.
And that, even when an opposition party who wanted to take over power went as far as Chicago, going to the court, going to get all these other things, it didn't fly. you know, as far as the Nigerian laws are concerned. So what else does he know that he thinks will work against Asiwaju in 2027? But this is how politicians speak. We'll wait for him. You know, the next 1 year,
I don't think
2 years will be interesting.
Also throwing himself under the bus by saying that.
He always does.
I think, he is, and he's very intelligent. I think he's throwing himself under the bus by saying that, because that information was, I don't know what that information was meant to do for us.
It just showed that.
I will use the word clever, like the former president Obasanjo. You know, maybe not intelligent, I would say clever. And that's part of his problem, by the way, if you have read his book, Accidental Public Servant, you know, where the president quoted.
I don't think that
you actually from him, you know, you look clever, you act clever, and you're just too clever.
Absolutely.
And people will, you know, hold that against you.
Well, my take is that it just shows that he cannot be trusted. That really is
that's
my
submission.
Well, that's what I said. Because if you knew something that
exactly,
you felt
that's
like
what I'm saying.
Could discredit someone,
and you kept quiet, and
so you just revealed.
And you're telling us this now, in today, where you have another. Again, it's not a very. We didn't need to know that. I don't know what it was meant to do for us, but it just further proves that this is not where we want to be.
All right, like I said, for me, my submission is that it shows that Madam El-Rufai cannot.
I believe Arise News is not a TV station or a news agency that lie. Must have verify, investigate before making it public. So for those of you that will still say, oh, Peter Obi can never, Peter Obi don't have the plan to measure, and he's not even measuring with people, he's measuring with his own enemy. Trust politicians at your own risk. When I said it, none of you will believe me. El-Rufai is part and parcel and the reason Peter Obi lost 2023 presidential election. He made sure that he lost it because he was soliciting and preaching in every mosque, saying it is far better for an infidel Muslim to become a president than a Christian to become a president in Nigeria. Even when we were saying, oh, why can't we just make it Muslim president, Christian vice president? He said they will Islamize Nigeria. That was his plan. And how he planned it, it was perfected. The only reason now that is grieving, his grievance is that after all of this, after wrestling against Buhari, this man fought Buhari for Tinubu. Like, he even fought the CBN governor when they seized money so that Tinubu will not see money to bribe people. At the end of the day, they use him, they dump him, and they sideline him. How many times have I told you Nigeria is not for anybody? They tear gas him and sideline him. Now, it becomes a problem. Tinubu is not a problem now. He started insulting Tinubu. For those of you that have not watched that video when he was calling Peter Obi that Peter Obi can never. Who is Peter Obi? I want you guys to watch it.
How can Peter Obi win any election? Peter Obi is polling 1% in Sokoto, 2% in Katsina, 5% in Kano. That's why the votes are. All states are not equal. The fact that you are doing 70% in Anambra State does not mean somebody doing 10% in Kano is not better than you. The number of votes in Anambra is the size of one local government in Kaduna State. So all states are not equal. If you poll states and you make them equal, yes, Peter Obi will sweep the southeastern states. He will do well in South-South. Where else? He's not polling well in Southwest, other than a drop in the ocean in Lagos. He is polling in the Christian enclaves in the north. He's polling well, but how many are they? Peter Obi cannot win the election. He doesn't have the number of states. He doesn't have 25% in more than, the last time we checked, in more than 16 states. He can't go anywhere. Peter Obi is a Nollywood actor, and that's all he will be.
This is not the same man. I'm telling you now that Peter Obi and him should manage to fight against this person. Politician. Some of you say, oh, the only thing that pains me is that immediately these people merge. I'm talking about these corrupt people merge. It's going to be war. It's going to be war. Labour Party was nothing till Peter Obi enter. When Peter Obi give life to Labour Party, Abure is not telling them that he own Labour Party. The other one is not saying, oh, we are own Labour Party. They are not. They destroy the Labour Party because money will not floating. This particular political party they are going to form now, these alliances they are going to form now to be one. Ha ha ha. Ho, ho. Do you know they form APC to unseat PDP. Now they are forming another political party to unseat APC. And many more. Tinubu knows this plan. Tinubu plans it very well to unseat every other political party or remove them by all means, or you decamp. all of them is not decamping. Basic reason, our investigation shows that the reason major people are decamping to APC from PDP is because that Atiku refused to give other presidential seats to anybody. He wants to make it his birthright that I will be the one to contest. And that is what he's also proposing. So Peter Obi, I will be the president, you will be my vice. And people are saying, Peter Obi, if you fall for it, that means you are doomed. He said, no, 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 you are not doomed. Not doomed. I'll make it one time president. I will just be president for 4 years. After 4 years, no, I will step down. You will not be president. How is that possible?
Can do it.
Well, the argument is that even if you win in 2027, you'll be forced or prevailed upon to hand over to the North after just one term in 2031, which will not be enough for you to fulfill these electoral, let me just make the point, these electoral promises. Whereas if you worked with a one-term northern presidency in 2027, you'd be more likely to scale through in 2031, assuming the North keeps to the agreement. Does that sound like a reasonable proposal to you? Because you mentioned Yaradua, who came into office. He had to come into office before he started trying to change things.
Charles, the president that is there today, how many years has he stayed? 2 years. And you could see where we are. Look at the turn of things in 2 years. That means that you can change things in 2 years. If I was there in 2 years, Charles, that you would have seen considerable change. In critical areas, I would have tackled corruption head-on. I would have reduced cost of governance. And you will see it. People will feel it. And those monies invested in critical areas. Our primary health care today, I told you, 70% are not functional. And we spent over 35 billion in conference center. Which conference? Who is coming for the conference? You need to invest your money properly. Just you have been seeing borrowed money invested in critical area. We, a country in Bangladesh with 148,000 square kilometers of land, is producing about 60 million metric tons of rice. And us, with over 6 times that size of land, cannot do 10% of that. Charles, there's room here. You talked about devaluation of Naira. There's nothing wrong in devaluation. I would have done something. I would have allowed the Naira to float. But I would have done it in an organized manner. There would be productivity. The idea of devaluing your currency, allowing it to float, to be cheaper, is that you have productivity so you can export, so people can come and buy. But when you don't have productivity and you devalue your currency, it's double whammy because you have nothing to sell. So I would have injected money in productivity. Today, nobody is producing anything. Somebody told me a few days ago, said, oh, they've removed there's no more tax or this, or some of the manufacturing inputs and everything. And all. I said, that's no. How can you manufacture? How can you do business when your interest rate is over 40%? Yeah, one of the biggest costs of manufacturing today, cost of production today, is interest rate. Just nobody borrows money at over 40% to do a business that is shared. You can only borrow it. It's only government that is borrowing that amount of money at that cost. So you need to do the right things, and you can do it.
So what would be the thrust of your attack then on President Tinubu in 2027 that might tip the balance in your favor? I mean, you've talked about, the economy, you've talked about democracy, the rule of law, which you say suffered a setback. Given all that, what would be your strategy to erode confidence in the president and convince the Nigerian people to go with you rather than him?
It is not enough that your aides are running around. You, who is the main person, have to have an idea, be competent, have the capacity, have the compassion, the energy to do the job. It is not something you can lease out. Governance, leadership is not something you can just hire somebody else to do for you. You are the leader. You should be the one answerable to the people, doing the right things. You're the chief person, and you should be in charge. We have too much of delegated responsibility here. That shouldn't be.
Very briefly, because we're fast running out of time, we've got less than 5 minutes now. Are you going to stick with the Labour Party, given the disarray that's in the party?
The disarray is caused by government.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter who caused it.
No, that's what I'm telling you. Yes.
Are you going to stick
I'm in Labour Party. I'm in Labour Party.
And are you going to stick with the Labour
Well,
Party?
I'm there because I'm there. It's not something I can tell you now. I'm there today. And as time go on, Charles, if it changes, I'll tell you. But I'm a member of Labour Party. And these are one of the things I said I would do. I will make sure that parties work. I will protect democracy and make it work.
Some would say Labour Party isn't working under you.
No, it has nothing to do under me. I'm not the one running the party. Charles, I've been involved in all this. If government today is democratic and they want democracy to thrive, all these things will work.
Right.
Put me anywhere.
So you can only make the change if you're president.
I've told you, Charles, I saw this we had a problem under Yaradua, for example, in my party. He told it in front of me, told the INEC chief, I don't want all these party issues in front of me. I want it to happen. I don't want all this. So you have to say you're democratic, practice it, believe in it, whether it favors you or not. Because that's what you want. You want to build a better, decent society that is organized.
Right. Okay. We've got a couple of minutes left before we have to go, which is rather sad because I'm enjoying talking with you. Before we go, after what's been clearly a rather depressing discussion about the future of Nigeria, cheer us up with one thing that could make this country look better to the world.
Well, Charles, I wish I can tell you. The only thing I can tell you is that it is what is happening can be turned around with a competent leader that has the capacity and compassion to serve. Because we have low-hanging fruits. There's nothing in following the rule of law. There's nothing in ensuring orderliness. There's nothing in fighting corruption. You know, people say it's difficult. It is not. If you are not involved, you reduce it by 50%. There's nothing in investing in critical areas of development. We're borrowing money. Every left, right, and center. Invest that money properly. Tell Nigerians, come out, Charles, leaders come out every day and address their people. I will make sure I address Nigerians at least once every month and tell them what is happening. They want to know. I want to visit universities and tell them what is happening. I want to tour the states and see for myself what is happening. That's what it should be. We can change it. It's happened before.
On that note, I want to thank you very much indeed, and we really appreciate the time you've taken to come and talk to us. Mr. Peter Obi is the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, or was the presidential candidate of the Labour Party in 2023. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, Mr. Charles.
That's it for this edition of our
Zoom. I'll make it one time president. I will just be president for 4 years. After 4 years, no, I will step down. You will not be president. How is that possible? what this guy have lost over these years, this guy have contested for more than 5 times. That thing, all the money, all his wealth that they have pumped away is what he's trying to regain. And immediately this man entered that seat, is finished. If you make Peter Obi his vice, please, I beg of you, don't vote. President is the head. Vice is nobody in Nigeria. Vice is like zombie. Vice is inactive. In as much that times Tinubu were sick, Tinubu were falling year. People were saying, oh, Kashi Shettima will become president. Kashi Shettima will... Who know? Until today, Kashi Shettima is irrelevant. Just the way Osibajo was irrelevant. If you like, vote, except they make Peter Obi the head. If Peter Obi is the head and Atiku is the vice, don't vote. Atiku does not merit that political position, because that man will frustrate Nigeria and will proclaim and claim everything that the Kakawans have eaten over the years. I rest my case. But for me, like I always say, if you like, don't come out on the 16th to protest. This motto, they are saying there are protests for electoral reform, while others have already given up that even if we cry out tomorrow, they will not reform it, because that is what brought Tinubu to power. If Tinubu want to reform it, anybody who's still going to put there is still going to control it. So there's no need. But why others say, why can't we just give it a try to make sure that we reform that INEC? If not, your vote will not count. Tinubu is already putting things in place, saying that any form of ID card you can vote. They can just forge a name, forge ID card without accrediting anybody, and thumbprint and give it out. Because now they say with normal ID card, while you are there on polling units, they will be there at home thumbprinting and making sure that your vote goes. And at the end of the day, you vote 20,000 in this polling unit, you see scores of 500,000. You will just scream and you will rest, and nobody will talk. That is what we are trying to fight against now. If no PVC, nobody should vote, and that's all. I rest my case. I love you guys. Peace out.
Celebrate Rotimi Amechi, and also I think I will take another minute to make a short remark on the speech or the lecture by the guest lecturer. My relationship with Amechi dates back to 2011 when he was governor and I was brigade commander. And I've seen in him a leader who thinks security, he eats security, he sleeps security, and wakes up with security. The period he served as governor, we all know what happened, what transpired. He is the first to invite me to the political terrain. I was in Benin, Cotonou. One evening he called me and said, come and join my political campaign for the primaries. And behold, I had no hesitation. And as such, what happened? What happened during the primaries? He came second in order of the votes. He scored 316, while President Bola Ahmed Tinubu scored 1,271. And we have the sitting vice president came after him, and the sitting senate president came after him. The number 2 and number 3 in the order of precedence. What does that say? Means he has a great political future. I see Amechi playing fully the political leadership of this country, and I think his political role has just fully started. Your Excellency, I say congratulations. Secondly, this is my opinion, my views. I'm not a member of this government of Tinubu, you all know, but we played a prominent role in ensuring that he won the elections. But the topic, democracy and the Republic of Poverty, I want to take a historical perspective in context of our country. Please, 1, 2. This has essentially been done systematically and influenced by the International Monetary Fund and World Bank. And you will see, during the time of IBB, the Structural Adjustment Program and the Belt Tightening policies, the foreign exchange, the regulations started fully during IBB's period. And also, it went on for the regulation, Shagari's era, Obasanjo's presidency, Jonathan's presidency, and of course, Buhari's presidency. We saw gradual pauperization of the Nigerians. The poverty level continuously increases, gradually then. But the only difference with this administration is that it came more radical. It is massive and sudden. It was not gradual. Listen to me. It was not gradual like the previous administration. It has its own advantages, this radical position. It shows a change from what we have been doing. We've been suffering gradually and smiling. But this time around, it came out fully to show that we must get it right, because we cannot continue. This is my own opinion. The main challenge, finally, yes. The main challenge, or the main challenges, and of course, disappointment of the majority of Nigerians are the seemingly insensitive or insensitivity to the massive impact of the government policy. Poverty and insecurity are real, and we all know. And we believe probably the second half of this administration will make a difference. Otherwise, I can see the coalition working hard. Thank you. God bless.